Hey guys, this is Sniper here. I'm coming to you with a very particular modification that I wanted to do to a couple of joysticks that I have. Some of you may be familiar if you're into flight simulation like DCS or FSX or other arcade type games or simulators. You might be familiar with different HOTAS or joystick type configurations, and the reason that I wanted to upload this video, and I apologize for the quality of the video because I do not have that a high-end camera or anything like that. I'm just basically using an iPad to record this. So anyways, getting that out of the way, here we have our Gladiator MK2. This is the VKB stick, flight stick, or I guess you could call it entry-level HOTAS system. It's not a HOTAS itself, but you can use it as a HOTAS since it does have a throttle. And on the other hand, you have I have the this one, which is the Cobra Defender M5, or the Defender Cobra M5, or whatever you want to call it, which is basically it was basically a previous version that this company or the at least I think the engineers of this company used to do. However, there have been a couple of versions of it, and I believe on the third installment of the version of this particular stick for flight sims, I believe they sold it to a Chinese company. And the Chinese company just basically, changed the components and a lot of components to lower cost, but it affected directly the quality build and handling of this thing and the reliability of this thing. Okay, so with that out of the way, I wanted to basically, talk about the Gladiator MK2, since this is, by the way, one of the best flight sticks that I've had for virtual simulation. I can say that if you want to compare it to some other two joysticks that I've used, just so you know where I'm coming from. Here's one of them. This is the X52 Pro, which has a lot of buttons, configurations. It actually looks more like a layout's good, but it actually looks more like a spaceship type simulation or a space sim rather than a flight sim. Anyways, I'm not going to get too much into this. The thing is, it has a ton of details and errors with it, especially in the programming side, with the HOTAS working alongside with the throttle that this thing comes in. So let's just say I've been spoiled now because I've been using that one, the Gladiator MK2, and in regards to this, well, you have a lot of there's a lot of detail which I don't want to get into, but let's just say that after using the MK2, I don't want to go back to this at all. Okay, so moving that out of the way, and I apologize for I'm doing this by myself. I'm going to talk about this one, just in case you have any doubts that why I decided to make this hybrid build. And well, this is the brand new Thrustmaster T16000M, which I bought along with the the new throttle that has the paddles, the TWCS combo. Got it from Amazon. Less than $100, but it does have some things that I didn't like. I didn't like the buttons here. They seem really flimsy. This stick is ambidextrous. The button placement here on the bottom is horrible. The buttons themselves feel extremely tacky. I would say it would be a nice stick if these buttons were over here, but then there's another issue with this thing, and that is, or at least for me it is, that when you're playing or you want to play and you want to point the nose down of the aircraft, it tends to, there's too much force that you're applying here, and it just tends to go back to a center. It's forcing you to go to center all the time. So even if you're, if you're kind of flying and you're pitching the aircraft, or diving, putting the nose down a little bit, you still feel the resistance, like it's pushing your hand to go towards the center. And I don't like this movement in the bottom. The reason I bought it is because I wanted to test it out. I wanted to compare it to the VKB Gladiator, but it's to me at least, it's night and day. This is supposed to have the same Hall effect sensors that the flagship, I would say, the Thrustmaster Warthog has, and that's the main reason why I bought it. But for right now, I will not be using this stick, since button placement is awful, and regardless of these buttons right here, which feel really flimsy, and even the trigger, it seems that intense gaming is gonna, like, you're gonna be able to break that. Also, in the yaw movement that you can do, this does have yaw, but as you can see, it's a very limited. In fact, I can feel that it reaches a certain point, but the angle, the total amount of angle that I have to turn this is just very narrow. So I don't know if I can rely on this too much to be a twist, I would say, rudder axis, because of the fact that within game, if I kind of twist my hand really fast, if I need to do kind of an aggressive, like this, and then an aggressive maneuver where I have to move the rudder to the left or right, this does seem like it's going to break. And in fact, I've been seeing some reviews where some people have handled this pretty roughly, and yeah, they do have some issues with this or with this, and I can see the brittleness of this. So button placement's horrible. The accuracy, I will say, is right there, but the force that you have, if you like to have a lot of force to be actually pitching your aircraft or just maintaining it without trim, not exactly my idea of a nice time. Okay, so let's move this out of the way, and I'm going to come back to this. Well, here basically it's this is, since I fly mostly DCS, I'm a big fan of the fourth and fifth generation type modern jet fighters, and I was thinking, the only gripe I have about using the Gladiator MK2 was actually this. The upper part of the stick is a replica of a KG-12 World War II, kind of a a BF-109 or a Spitfire, Mustang, or type aircraft, and I mean, it's fine if you want to use it for that type of World War II aircraft, but the button placement in the bottom and the way you can feel the grip and just move the stick, the smoothness is just so awesome that for me, after trying the X52 Pro and even now the T16000M, it's like it's night and day. I mean, this is, by the way, the $99 version of it. This is a 2017, came out in February, and this is $99 version of it. So, what is it that I wanted to do with this mod? Well, I said, well, okay, so I do have the base of the Gladiator, and I wanted to basically use more of a kind of a modern jet, kind of like that type of layout, I would say, like a Sukhoi, 4++ generation, whether it's an Su-33, a 34, or an Su-27 type joystick, or the latest, almost 5th generation, the PACFA T50 type controller. So with this amount of hats and well, this is a copy of the real stick. It's an image of the real stick and the throttle. And the only at this stage, I would say the only stick that gives you this kind of feel for at least the flanker side of Sukhoi aircrafts, mostly for DCS, is this, which is the Cobra M5 um, Gladiator, Cobra M5 from Defender. And one of the biggest things that this thing has is actually here with there is a mode button, which you do have certain advantages to that, where you do have a visual mode, you have a navigation mode, and you have a beyond visual range mode. And this is great, by the way, because you don't have to depend on a shift key or a pinky switch that works as a shift key, and then you have to maintain that pressed within the HOTAS itself, or the stick itself, rather, to, let's say, move this hat 4 ways and then have 4 different commands, bind it to them, and then press the switch, and again for a second set of commands. You don't have to do that with this. And this is a big plus to take note, because this is once you press any mode that you're in, you don't have to be pressing anything. And the other thing is that you don't need any special software. It's just plug and play. And even you can look into the the device properties right in Windows, and you can see that every time you switch to that mode, it's not a bindable button, but rather a mode switch, which actually, once you change it, as I said, you press these like 4 hat switches, or 4-way hat switch, you toggle to another mode, and then you have a separate set of commands, totally on the fly. It's totally practical. So, I wanted to make a kind of a merge or a hybrid between well, in this case, I didn't want to, between the Gladiator and the MK2 and the Cobra. Now, I didn't want to go with something like this and then thinking, oh, I'm going to make a Black Mamba and I'm going to drive it to the extreme and I'm going to make a super fat King Cobra like this one, which is ridiculous, right? So, yeah, you can tell pretty much picture says 1,000 words. So, you may be wondering, okay, so why are you making this? Because, VKB is coming out with their line of modern combat grips, and I can say, just out of purchasing the Gladiator MK2, that I cannot wait for these to come out. I know there have been some delays, especially with with the build. But again, this is the first company that formally is listening to the customers, and they've incorporated different types of configurations. So awesome, BKB. I can't wait to get my hands on one of these. So.